Good evening. If everyone would take their seats, we'd like to get our awards presentation started this evening. Just make sure everybody's got a place to sit, and we're ready to go. Good evening. My name is Don Roberts. I'm with the Department of Health and Senior Services in the Office of Emergency Medical Services. On behalf of the entire staff, we'd like to welcome everybody to the 13th Annual EMS Awards Dinner. Would everyone please rise for the presentation of the colors? Please remain standing for the national anthem, brought to us by Miranda Stafford.
Present, halt!
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly held at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight all the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets' bright glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner
God bless. On your right. Quick. Mark.
Thank you. Please be seated. You've got at least 10 minutes. You've got at least 10 minutes. Thank you. I'd like to take a quote from one of our presenters today, that in the middle of his presentation, one of his comments that he made to us was, how many times is it acceptable to drop a baby each day? Well, we all know the answer to that. The same applies to the line of duty deaths. How many times a day is it acceptable to lose another EMS provider? One of the major focuses of this conference, if you have not already seen, is creating and maintaining and developing a culture of safety, where one day we can get to the point where we no longer have to present the EMS memorial to honor those who've died in the line of duty throughout the country. So if you would just take a few minutes and please turn your attention to the monitors on either side of the room, we would like to honor those who made the ultimate sacrifice while providing EMS care throughout the country. If you would please stand for a moment of silence while we honor those from the state of New Jersey that made the ultimate sacrifice while providing pre-hospital care. If you'll turn your attention to the screens, we would like to honor them now. Karen Holupke.
Thank you, Don. Welcome to the 13th Annual EMS Awards Program. A special thank you to Bill Castagno and the UMDNJ EMS Honor Guard and the Somerset County Police Pipes and Drums. A special thank you to Miranda Stafford for that beautiful rendition of the national anthem. I'd like to take a minute and introduce some special guests that we have with us this evening. First, Mary O'Dowd, the Commissioner of the Department of Health and Senior Services. Christopher Rinn, the Assistant Commissioner in the Department of Health and Senior Services. Dr. Jennifer Waxler, Chairperson of our EMS Statewide Advisory Council. Mickey McCabe, EMS Council, Vice Chair. Dr. Stephen Vetrano, EMT Training Fund Chairperson and Chair of our BLS Subcommittee. Dr. Jay Stiefel, MICU Advisory Committee Chairperson. Dr. Al Sacchetti, Chairman of our EMS for Children Advisory Committee. I don't know if he's here tonight, but Dr. Joseph Hummel, GEMSTAR and Air Medical Chairperson. Barbara Aris, New Jersey State First Aid Council President. Scott Casper, President of the New Jersey Association of Paramedic Programs. Kristen Schultz, the New Jersey State Police, Captain Kristen Schultz. Jocelyn Hulbert, our federal partner from HRSA and the National EMS for Children program. And Joseph Schmieder, the state director from the state of Pennsylvania. This year, we received a total of 218 nominations. Nominees were described as role models and patient advocates with a demonstrated commitment to the culture of caring. A father wrote to us about the paramedics who saved his daughter's life when she choked on a grape. He wrote, "The paramedics seemed to bring calm to a chaotic situation. It was clear that they were confident and knowledgeable in what was needed to be done." He wrote that he knew they were nervous, but he was reminded of the old TV commercial, "Don't ever let them see you sweat." He stated that this is the definition of leadership and a great example of EMS professionalism. As in past years, this was an extremely strong year for outstanding EMS call nominations. We saw the successful resuscitation of a 14-year-old girl at a sporting event, an 18-year-old in his driveway, and a 20-year-old college student. We saw the collapse and resuscitation of a 65-year-old man at Newark Airport who went rapidly to the cath lab and then to surgery for 6 bypass grafts to make a full recovery. We saw the care of a patient who fell 30 feet from the top of Rutgers Stadium with a serious head injury, who has since made a full recovery. We saved a 21-year-old with a partially severed arm, saved a teenage male with bilateral above-the-knee amputations who was struck by a freight train. We saved a man with a stab wound to the heart. And we saw heroic resuscitation efforts for a friend and fellow EMS instructor, to name only a few of our nominated calls tonight. It is important to remember that every day you save lives. Sometimes you never find out what happened to your patients. As I say every year, this is my favorite night of the year. I read each and every one of the 200 or more nominations that come into our office, and they each touch my heart and remind me why the provision of emergency medical services is so important. In New Jersey, we do many extraordinary things and save countless lives. In past years, we celebrated our miracle on the Hudson, but this year I want to tell you about the miracle of Christmas. A little after 12 noon on Christmas Day, 20-year-old Andrew Weeks was playing a Wii dance game with his family in his living room, a common scene in many of our living rooms that day. But for them, this was to be no ordinary day. Andrew, a 20-year-old LaSalle College student and rowing team athlete, suddenly became unresponsive and stopped breathing, suffering a cardiac arrest. Burlington County Communications received the 911 call and gave pre-arrival instructions. Multiple agencies in Mount Laurel responded, including fire, police, EMS, and the Virtua Health System paramedics. CPR was initiated, an AED was applied, and 2 shocks were delivered, with advanced life support care providing airway control and medications. As a result of the teamwork and a rapid, coordinated emergency medical services system response, I am pleased to introduce you to Andrew Weeks and his parents who came here to share tonight with us. Stand up, Andrew. Andrew has returned to LaSalle and is coaching with the rowing team. He told me tonight that he's just been medically cleared to go back to doing athletics. Sometimes we do get to find out what happened to our patients. It makes me very proud to work in emergency medical services. All of our providers and nominees tonight are our heroes who participate in making these miracles happen every day. Will all of tonight's nominees please stand to be recognized? We thank you for what you do each and every day. We are honored to be able to share this evening with you. And now it is my pleasure to introduce our special guest, the Commissioner of the Department of Health and Senior Services, Mary O'Dowd.
Good evening. I just have to say, listening to the stories of the nominees is just an amazing, amazing experience. If you hear the stories and you understand what you all do each and every day, It really sends shivers down your spine. And it's so wonderful to have a story, a really happy story here with us tonight to celebrate. On behalf of Governor Chris Christie, I want to thank you for all of your hard work every day for the residents of our state. The governor couldn't be here with us this evening, but I do have a message from him to share with you. And this is his letter. Dear friends, on behalf of the state of New Jersey, we are pleased to welcome all those gathered for the annual Emergency Medical Services Awards Dinner. Our administration is proud to recognize the dedicated work of our EMS workers throughout the state who ensure the health and safety of our residents. I applaud the EMS for Children program on their 19 years of service in advancing the quality of health care in New Jersey. Tonight's event provides an opportune forum for exemplary EMS workers and heroic residents to be honored by the Office of Emergency Medical Services, their colleagues, family members, and friends. I join all of those gathered in commending tonight's honorees and thanking them for their service. Best wishes to all for an enjoyable evening. Sincerely, Governor Chris Christie and Lieutenant Governor Kim Guadagno. I hope you're all enjoying the three-day event here in Atlantic City, and I'd like to take a moment just to thank Assistant Commissioner Christopher Rinn and the Director of EMS, Karen Halupke. For those of you who don't know, Karen became a grandmother for the first time this year, so she's celebrating many things. And on top of that, she's done an excellent job once again organizing this year's conference and putting together a very informative group of lectures. You have an ambitious and diverse array of 60 education sessions, from airway management to surviving a hostage crisis, presented by a broad collection of educators and experts. The amount of information and education that is being shared over these 3 days will enrich the work of the first responder community. It is always important to enhance our skills, to continue our education, and to be as prepared as possible to provide the most state-of-the-art emergency care to the patients whose lives are in our hands each day. I hope today's conference will help you to recharge your batteries and reinvigorate your commitment to providing the highest quality of care to the residents of New Jersey at one of the most critical times in their lives. Tonight is a special part of the conference where we take the time to celebrate the achievements of the EMS community during the awards ceremony. Tonight, we honor the individuals who have gone above and beyond the call of duty during their daily efforts in the field of emergency medical services. We also honor several residents who took heroic actions to save the lives of others without regard to their own safety. These stories are extraordinary actions and are inspiring. But while we pay special attention and recognition to some, we are really honoring all of you. Every first responder in New Jersey reports to work each and every day with one goal in mind: to protect the safety and health of those in distress. And I've seen this firsthand because prior to joining the department, I worked in the emergency department of NYU Medical Center, and understanding those people that bring those patients through the door and the work that they do each and every day so that everyone in the emergency room can then do their jobs is so, so important and critical to the positive outcomes for our patients. As is so often the case, in the worst of times, it brings out the best of people. This commitment was demonstrated during Hurricane Irene and the extensive flooding that affected our state. It was a historic 100-year storm that brought an enormous amount of rain to an already waterlogged state. In New Jersey's healthcare professionals worked selflessly and collaboratively to ensure the health and safety of patients, residents, and community members. In New Jersey, EMS professionals worked in unprecedented conditions, assisting in thousands of evacuations and answering scores of 911 calls. EMS squads were on the ground and in many cases in the water to make sure our residents could access their hospitals. The response by the state, local, and county governments, emergency responders, healthcare providers, social service agencies, and volunteers was truly remarkable. Nearly 1.5 million people were evacuated from our barrier islands. Thousands of people were sheltered during and after the hurricane, and more than 3,500 residents of healthcare facilities were evacuated. Last week, more than 1,000 first responders, volunteers, members of the National Guard, police and fire joined Governor Christie at the War Memorial in Trenton for a special gathering to celebrate all the workers and volunteers that contributed to that great effort. I know that many of you were there, but for those of you who were not, I want to relay a thank you from the governor. We both recognize that you left your families behind to care for strangers, and when your day ended, many of you returned home to flooded homes or power outages. So thank you again for your selfless service to our residents. During the ceremony, we also recognized EMT Michael Kenwood, a member of the Princeton First Aid and Rescue Squad who passed away on August 28th from injuries sustained while responding to a water rescue assignment. His heroic efforts and untimely death remind us of the life and death nature of EMS work. This evening, we will honor EMT Kenwood and 5 other first responders who died in the line of duty this year. We will remember the sacrifice that they made for us in order to protect the safety of our residents. We applaud New Jersey's first responders for their stellar response to the Hurricane Irene, from the pre-event planning to the brave service while the storm and floods raged. They served their patients and communities exceedingly well. So often, our response efforts are regional, and Hurricane Irene was no different. It quickly became clear that additional resources were needed to assist our EMS operations. Pennsylvania, and I know many of you are here tonight, responded with 45 ambulances and almost 250 EMS workers. I know that those EMTs are here, and I really want to publicly thank them now for their answering our call. Your help greatly expanded New Jersey's capacity to provide additional EMS support to support our areas most impacted by the hurricane. Pennsylvania assisted us just as we helped New York City last December. When the city EMS became overwhelmed with the number of calls for assistance resulting from the post-Christmas blizzard, New Jersey EMS was there to assist with the response, while at the same time maintaining full EMS coverage in our state throughout the storm and its aftermath. Whether it's a Christmas blizzard, a hurricane, or a freak Halloween snowstorm, makes you a little bit worried for Thanksgiving, EMS workers are always ready to answer the call. EMTs are there when people are most vulnerable. They are there to provide emergency health care, but also provide much more, a calming presence and a compassionate ear. The service that you provide to the residents of this state is invaluable. Much of the healthcare system is experiencing an evolution, and the emergency medical services community is also adapting to this ongoing change. Working together, we can meet those challenges facing the EMS community so that all of you can continue your good work and strengthen our emergency response system. Again, I would like to congratulate tonight's honorees, and I would like to thank you all for your heroic efforts each and every day to protect the health of New Jersey's residents. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner, for those kind and encouraging words. At this time, it's my pleasure to introduce to you Captain Chris Schultz from the New Jersey State Police to say a few words to us.
Thank you. And I promise you, it will be a few words. And that's following an order as I took I'll take the opportunity to share this with you. This is from Colonel Rick Fuentes, who wasn't able to make it here tonight, but reminded me in a few words on the bottom, few words. He said, this is not a state police function, so don't stand up at the podium and steal all of the thunder, and that's not what my intention is. I am a captain with the state police, but I'm also the executive officer to the Office of Emergency Management. So our interaction is a daily one, and I want to take you through a quick timeline of a few of the things that we've experienced over the last 23 months. But before I do that, I want to thank Commissioner O'Dowd and Helen for allowing our office the opportunity to say a few words here today, and also thank the Commissioner. I woke up this morning, and the sun was shining. lights were going on in North Jersey. Our EOC has demobilized, and 700 people were able to gather here today as a result of all of the efforts. And it's an amazing thing that the weather's cooperating and we're able to be here. So a little humor. It didn't go over well, but bear with me, and I promise you I'll stop. So in the last 23 months, we've experienced quite a bit, and I'm preaching to the choir. And when I say we, I don't talk specifically to the New Jersey Office of Emergency Management, but I speak to the whole community that makes up the Office of Emergency Management, all of our partners. In the last 12 months, we saw one of the largest snowstorms in December, followed by some of the hottest days on record in July, the wettest month in August, which was followed then by a landfall hurricane, the first in over 100 years. Hurricane Irene made landfall, has the impact resulted in what will probably be close to $400 million in damages. 16,000 people were sheltered, 1.5 million people were evacuated. A whole lot of work and effort in our community to respond to that event. We were then followed with another storm, the aftermath of Tropical Storm Lee, that resulted in 11 records of our rivers, the highest records the levels of these rivers have met in their history. And then throw in an earthquake. God only knows you have to have an earthquake when you're dealing with these different events. That all happening along the same time that we were preparing for the anniversary of 9/11, former Governor Keene coming to the ROC, the Regional Operations Intelligence Center, where he hosted and we hosted him, and he made some comments. So we were dealing with that at the same time and the ceremonies that went along with it. Followed by this last week, which another record, a snowstorm in October. Who would have thought up to 12, 13 inches in some parts of New Jersey, 750,000 people without power, a number of lives that were lost as a result of it. I mean, it's been tremendous. It's been a long, hard road the last 23 months. In the last 23 months, our state has seen 8 presidentially declared disasters. We haven't had we haven't done that much work. 10 years prior to those 23 months, we didn't have 10 disasters that were equal to that. So it's been busy. Now, tack on to that, the Department of Homeland Security, grant funding, the idea of attaching prevention to preparedness, response, recovery, mitigation, all of the interorganizational relationships and the planning efforts that we've undertaken. There's been a lot going on. So as I talk to you today, a couple things that I would like to just bring out. We're here to recognize a host of individuals, a whole lot of nominees, but I think we're also here to recognize the community at large, a group of professionals that are here today that have committed themselves and their lives, their time away from their families. Some of them are paid professionals, some are volunteers, but all of you are part of that community that makes us more resilient and allows us to respond the way we do to the events that we've seen over the course of the past 23 months. I'm wearing today, and I shared this with a couple people, a tie tack. This tie tack is from the American Heart Association, and on the bottom it says President. And I don't normally wear a tie tack, but I thought this was somewhat of a special occasion. It was my father's tie tack, and my father, Dr. Klaus Schultz, was a cardiologist who spent quite a bit of his time to the volunteer agencies that support the American Heart Association. And he was the president of the Memphis chapter. He did quite a bit of volunteer work with the Jersey Shore, Jersey Shore Medical Center, Ficken Hospital when I was born there, and it's gone through a number of different changes. But I think if he were here today, he would be extremely proud of each and every person here, not only for your day-to-day efforts, but for your willingness to understand the bigger strategy of whole community, of resiliency, of partnering with other agencies, and for being a better organization for it. So I applaud you for your efforts, and again, I thank you for giving me the opportunity to speak tonight. Thank you.
Thank you, Captain Schultz. I have to say that you were pretty short, and that's absolutely wonderful. But in working with you up at the EOC, and speaking on behalf of a lot of us in the room, the few short words that we always look forward to hearing you say is, it's time to demobilize. With that, enjoy dinner, and we will start the awards portion of our program shortly. Thank you.